Greetings, everyone. Today, I just want to cover the importance of these lines, right? I know a lot of y'all now know what the real meaning of these lines is. If you don't, just watch my other videos. Now, these lines means Eli Eli Sabbatane. This is for Sabbath keepers, right? That's exactly what it just means. Now, what I want to cover today is some information that's to add to the importance of these lines, right? I know I didn't cover that before, but I just want to add today. Why didn't sin this, right? This is the last hour. This is the last energy he has. He's hungry because he was in prison, right? He was locked in prison the previous day. And then the following morning, no food, nothing. He was brought up in here. And after being beaten, gone through carrying he went through a lot. A lot to get to this point right here. This is the last hour, 9th hour, right? He been on a cross. 9th hour, he was whipped. Those soldiers, you know how soldiers be, they abusive sometimes. So he was done at this point, totally done. Energy, everything gone. But he used his last energy, today I just want to cover, why did he want to go the extra mile of yelling, not saying yelling these words. Why? Okay, so because we know he came here to be the sacrifice, right? Jerusalem to be the lamb, right? It was the Jerusalem day today, and Passover, he's the lamb. We all know the history, right? So he's done that part already. But why go an extra mile to do this? Because he could have just, okay, he's the lamb, sacrifice, boom, done. Okay, but no. He wanted to go the extra mile. So today we want to just focus on why this extra mile of yelling. He didn't just say this word, he yelled them, right? Imagine now when you're done, worn out, everything, your energy's gone, right? And you gotta still yell. Oh my God, that takes a lot out of a person. So he took a lot of energy of everything he got to say these words. So today we just want to see, why did he want to go through this extra mile? Because he had done his job of being the sacrifice, right? So why extra mile? So now, if you don't know what these words mean, let's go through this right here. You remember Elan Samatana, right? It means this is for Sabbath keepers, right? There you go, boom. Now, that's Matthew 27:46. That's where you see this. So now, what are these Sabbatane? What's a Sabbatane? Let's start there. Like, why? So the emphasis of this Sabbatane. Now, I know another video of mine is covering what the Sabbath is. Sabbath are all these feasts. I think you can see them right here. They are in Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers. Now, if our Father repeats something in 3 books, that is emphasis right there, right? So many emphases on this thing. The emphasis number 1 is the fact that this is less energy, less power, whatever he got left, he used to yell these words, right? That's emphasis number 1. Emphasis number 2 is the fact that our Father now, the mighty creator, he repeated these Sabbaths, right? In 3 books, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers. In 3 books telling, hey, children of Israel, you have to do it. So that's emphasis number 2 right there. Okay, so you have to know this. And now here's emphasis number 3. Now emphasis number 3 is, in Bantu, that's a Bantu language. Right? We know he was saying in Bantu. Elama Sabatan, a Sabbata. I hope you can see my cursor right here. A Sabbata is somebody who keeps Sabbath, right? A Sabbata, somebody who keeps Sabbath. Boom, right? But Sabbatane, once you add a ne into any word, right, in Bantu, you're adding a sense of commitment to it, right? Sabbatane. That's a sense of commitment, that N-E right there, right? I'll put other examples. So other Bantu people who keep forgetting their language, right? Now that they speak English, they forget their language. I never forget it, right? No matter how American I can be right now, I never. So, like an example, Smitiswa, a pregnant person, right? It's called a Smitiswa. But a highly pregnant person is called a Smitiswane. It's a Smitiswane. Yeah, highly pregnant person. Now, and another example that you will relate more to it. Upubane. Upubane is a pandemic, like a COVID, what was going on, or AIDS. Upubane. That's what it's called in a Bantu language, right? There's an end. So that's a sense of commitment, a magnitude. That's high. You get my drift, right? So that's emphasis number 3. He didn't say, oh, elama sabata. This no. He said, Alma Sabata, no. That's what he yelled on the cross, right? So you need to understand. I'll call it a cross so you'll just relate to it, but we all know it was the stick, right? Okay. Anyway, so you all need to understand. And here's another thing that you need to know about this whole line that he was yelling up there. The devil, he knew, right, what was going on, because now he knew that you shouldn't be a Sabbatane, right? Because he knew how important to be a Sabbatane is. He destroyed, that's one of the main things when he sent his people here on earth, right? He put them to destroy all those temples so that you cannot do those Sabbath things. Like, remember those Sabbath things? I'm pointing down here, right? That were repeated in those 3 books, Leviticus, Numbers, and he made sure you cannot do this because most of them, almost 90% of them, hinge on the temple in Jerusalem, right? On the temple. So he made sure he destroyed all of that first. So you can see that, oh, okay, you ain't got nowhere to do these things to fulfill none of this stuff. Then he knew, okay, if you cannot do these things, then you cannot be a full Sabbatane. Salvation, bye-bye for you. Okay, so that's what he was trying to do. That's what the devil was trying to do, to make sure that, because now, if you think about it, right, my mind is an analytical mind, right? So if you think about it, why would it go ahead and destroy the temples? Because his enemy is the people, right? Why destroy the worship? He could just go and burn out those people's houses and take them houses and maybe kill the people and take their land. I mean, that's what he could have done, right? But no. He was targeting the worship. Main thing is those temples. Why? Not just for y'all not to congregate, because you can congregate at home. I mean, home and study the Bible and talk about it. No. His main thing was the Sabbath, because Sabbath hinged on those temples, right? Think about it. Think about it hard, right? You must read between the lines when you look into these things. So now, disappointment to him. Boom, them sins came. I'm come to fulfill. That's what Msinisi said in Matthew 5:17 right there. Don't think I destroyed the law, which means now all of those law of the prophets, right? I did not come to destroy it, but to fulfill. Now, what does that mean? That means Msinisi came and said, okay, instead of all of those things that you cannot do because of either you don't have a temple no more, or the land has been defiled because there's graves everywhere, or whatever reason, you cannot fulfill it. I come in and top it up for you, right? He did not replace it. He tops it up. It's like when you're running short, your rent. Let's say your rent is $1,000, right? You only got $800. What Msinisi does, he gives you that $200. You don't come in and say, oh, I ain't got no rent. Give me all the money. No, he ain't doing it like that. So he fulfilled. Look at that. Let me circle it so you can see. He fulfills. You got to bring something, do your part, and then he will fulfill where you're running short. Okay? So that means, now, see, I circled it for you. So that means you have to do your part. Okay? Do your part. Now, if you don't understand what is this now I can do, not do, what do you mean when doing my part? Because I cannot do trumpets, I cannot do Passover. Trumpets, you can do a little bit of your part where you know which day of the trumpet. Okay, if you don't know when to do this stuff, right? One, we know the weekly cycles, right? Every 7th day. That's Sabbath number 1, right? This is all combined. This is all the same thing. Sabbaths, and it's not only the Sabbath day. Sabbath is all of these things. And these are not ceremonies. You need to understand that. These are not ceremonies or rituals. These are commemorations. Like commemorations when you have, you remember what somebody did for you. Or, Martin Luther King, we know he did this and we commemorate him on a certain day. And, veterans did this. So it's just like that. Commemorations of what our Father did. So he says weekly cycles because he rested on the day, so he gives us one day to rest. So you commemorate, oh, our Father created all this. Even if the devil tried to lie to you, say, no, this is mine. You already remember our Father created everything. So he rested on that day. Then you reflect. Yeah, it's a day of rest to reflect. So first fruit, same thing. Our Father says, put your first fruit when you get your first job, first paycheck, dedicated to me. So you'll always know that who is your provider. These are not rituals. These are commemorations. First fruit. He gave it when he was given the land to the children of Israel. Your forefathers, when they were given that promised land, when they went in there, our father said, no, when you just step your foot up in that land, right, Canaan, whatever your first fruit you reap, yeah, right? Whatever your first, wave it to me. And from that day, he established this to say, now, you will do this in remembrance of me, in commemoration, right? He didn't put it in those words, but that's the objective of that first fruit and wave. You cannot separate first fruit and wave offering, because what are you waving? That first fruit. First paycheck, you wave up in the air, right? That's what that is for. You can do it. You don't need a temple for that. So, unleavened bread. And then the part of the temple that you will need is when you got to take that wave offering and bring it to because that's what people used to do back in the day, right? Bring it to the priest, and the priest will take it for you and wave it up in the air. But the objective is the same. You can wave it up yourself because you don't have the priest, the high priest, Levites are gone, right? We don't know who they are now. So the first fruit, wave offering, you can still do this. Objective is the same. It never changed. The reasoning behind it, not all of these, the reasoning behind all of these is still the same. Unleavened bread, same thing. Unleavened bread is when you are cleansing yourself, So you need to know all of these. And you know what? I have a video, actually. Let me pull it up. Let me see. Real meaning of, let me see if I still, there you go. I have a video up in here. Original Bantu Feast Celebration, Real Jewish. I put a video. It's a long video, right? But it tells you when these days are and what the objective of each one of these Sabbaths is. It's not a ritual. It's something that gives you something to help to know who your father is, and you stay committed. So original Bantu Feast, that's what it is there. And that little elaboration over there. I hope you can see my pointer, right? Okay, so I got this. So you can see, because if you're confused now, when are these supposed to be done there? Right? Don't shoot me with a question talking about, when are these supposed, go to this channel. You can see, I posted it 5 years ago. Been doing this too long. Yeah, there you go, right? If you don't know when to do what, go to the same channel you are watching right now. Scroll down and see original Bantu Feast. There you go. Okay, so that's what you gotta do, right? Passover, we already know you're passing over from death to life, right? Our Father, he even said it in this Passover. Said, no, children of Israel, you have to keep doing this stuff, because this is for your children, so they know what I've done for you, commemorations, right? What I've done for you. I've passed you over, I saved you from that land you were told, made slaves from, and I took you out of there, took you all the way out. So, and the angel, I saved you, I sent an angel there. Okay, so he trumpet, same thing. So we all know each other. You blow a trumpet on that day, day of trumpets. Blow a trumpet so we know, okay, I know my neighbor, there's a trumpet there, Well, we know who we are, who each other. Blow the trumpet, there's a power to that thing. Both tabernacles, you are with your Father together, So just go in there and understand so you have to be a Sabbatane. That means you must recognize all of these. Do the part you can do. The part that you cannot do because you gotta go into a temple or get a Levite to finish it up for you. That part in Cindy C. There you go. He's covered. He covered it. Fulfill. There you go. He covered that part. But you still got to do your part. And it's not an obligation that, I must do it like a ritual. No. It's something that should come from your heart. You must be a sabbatane. Must come from your heart. Sense of commitment. A sabbata is somebody who just ritually keep a sabbath. So, you keep it. But a sabbatane, it comes from your bottom of your heart. Right? You need to just know, acknowledge these, to understand, to be a Sabbatani, right? That's the main emphasis that I wanted to put together today. So you can understand that these are not rituals. These are things that should come from the bottom of your heart to know, okay, to be unleavened bread, that means all of those days, I need to just make sure I cleanse my mind. If you are smoking, you're a drinker, whatever habit you're doing, unleavened bread is a day set apart so that you can just sit back and okay, you know what? I'm going to stop doing all of this stuff. I'm just going to just own only for those couple of days that he put out there to say, I'm just for this couple of days, I'm going to stop. It's 14 days in total, right? For these 14 days, I'm just going to stop drinking, smoking. And these days, here's something. Somebody, but I need a rehabilitation for that. No, you don't. Because our Father bless these days. Miraculously, you will not need rehabilitation, nothing. You'll just sit there and, I have a habit, a bad habit. For these 14 days, our Father, He knows what you're trying to cleanse. He knows, if He knows every little bit of hair on your head, for everyone, He will know who you are. Yeah, really know what you're trying to do. So unleavened bread, about that cleansing and all of that. 14 days. If you don't know, I showed you, right? There's the channel to told you what are you supposed to do in which day, right? Which part of you can do, what you can do, right? Versus what you cannot do. All of these trumpets, Passover, all of this stuff. So you need to do your part, and Cindy's is gonna fulfill what you cannot do. His blood sacrifice is making sure that, okay, what you cannot do, our Father is gonna sit there. Because our Father, He expects 100% of the law. Believe me or not. He expects 100%. And how we know that? Because instead of our Father taking away that part to say, okay, fine, I'm going to readjust this law to say, okay, you do this part, but I'm going to remove this part. That means you got to go to some temple because it's no longer there. No, He didn't remove that. He'd rather bring His Son to be tortured here. Bring His only Son to be tortured here, instead of removing that part to say, okay, you can do everything else, but when you got to go to the temple, okay, I'm deleting this part from the law. No, He didn't. That shows how important this law is. So our Father is sitting there expecting 100% of this law, right? But His Son, His blood sacrifice, is fulfilling that part you cannot do. So now, in conclusion, what are you? Your son, I know a lot of y'all now, and you ain't falling for this sun worship, right? So now I just want to show you this. I just had to bring it up, right? To just compare sun versus the Sabbatane, right? Sabbatane. So you have to take, this Sabbatane thing is very important. You need to take it seriously, right? Even if you cannot do some of the stuff because of, there's some reasons, maybe your husband is this and that. People be asking me questions like that. So if you cannot do because of some valid reason, right? The blood sacrifice. Msindisi, done cover that. Right? Okay. I think that's it. Let me see how to stop this from recording now. Yeah. There you go.